Welcome to the Child Care Director's Chair, the podcast for bold educators who are ready to lead, grow, and shake things up in early childhood education. Whether you are a teacher eyeing that lead role, a lead stepping into leadership, or a center owner dreaming big, this is your space to grow with purpose and leave your mark. Hosted by heart-centered leadership coach Erica Sacoccio, each episode brings you real talk, actionable tools, and a contagious laugh or two, all designed to help you step into your next level with confidence. So pour your coffee, pop in those earbuds, and take your seat, because your leadership journey starts right now in the Child Care Director's Chair.
Hey guys, it's Erica here at the Child Care Director's Chair podcast. As always, I have the coolest guests on the mic. Today is no exception. We are here at the Maine AEYC conference, and I have one of the amazing speakers in the chair right now. And I'm going to give her an opportunity to tell you a little bit about herself, what she does, and what she talked about today.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. I'm Jane Banish, and I actually started out my career in science and environmental education with a preschool orientation. And I did that for many years, but I hadn't been in the classroom yet. And I was like, if I'm going to work with preschool teachers and preschoolers, I better get in that classroom and see what life is really like. So I went back to school, got my master's in certification, and taught for a number of years, but with really a focus on science as play, because I'd seen how much children were engaged with hands-on materials at science museums. So I kind of set up my classroom like a hands-on science museum. So there were exploration boxes that they could have like free play. And we did different kinds of investigations and went from exploring to doing some experimenting. And I just found it enabled me to kind of peek into their minds in a way that I maybe would not have otherwise.
So a lot of folks that listen to our show run programs, right? What would you recommend in terms of like materials that they should have in a classroom that would enhance math and science exploration?
Yeah, so the boxes that I developed were with fairly inexpensive materials. I had one box had little plastic mirrors, and it had half pictures that children could make into whole pictures with the mirrors. I did loose parts way back when. This was in the 90s as well. And actually, a suggestion in my training was to just put a bunch of loose parts in the sensory table and let children make creations and dictate to you what they are. So let them just really play with the materials. Some of the other boxes I had included magnets. I had a magnet box where the children could explore different kind of magnets. I had different kinds of lenses. Some of them are just like what are called Fresnel lenses that blow things up really big, and hand lenses. And then the other thing I really tried to do was switch things up a little bit. What I found was, say, with the water table, they would be filling and spilling, filling and spilling, filling and spilling. It's kind of the same activity over and over again. So what I decided to do is or I asked myself, how can I get that water moving? So we just got some rain gutter material and PVC pipe, and we elevated the rain gutter so it was like a ramp, and the children could start moving the water. So it's just kind of trying to look at materials through a little bit different lens. And one of the other boxes was light and color. I just took acetate, different colors of acetate, and made little frames so that children could look through the frames. I had a kaleidoscope in that one, different ways for them to explore color. And then we would mix color on waxed paper with eyedroppers, dilute food coloring in blue, yellow, and red, and they could actually see for themselves how to mix color.
Talking about magnets, I have to tell you, at our center, magnet tiles are like the number one. I don't care what age group. I never have enough magnet tiles. They just love them. They love them. Why do you think programs should expand science into their programs? What's the benefit?
Well, I think there's so many skills children are using: observing, comparing, communicating. They're also exploring with hands-on materials that are concrete. But I also think it allows teachers to wonder. I think historically we felt that we had to set up experiments for kids. And I gave the example in my training about the volcano with the baking soda and vinegar, and the realization that, number one, that's not really what happens in a volcano because it's lava. And number two, it's like magic. for children. They don't really, it's hard to explain the science behind that in a way that maybe we could understand and they could understand. So I think it's almost creating a sense of wonder for ourselves too, and being able to wonder alongside the children instead of feeling like we have to have answers to their questions that we have to answer right away.
Yeah.
Some people don't use technology in the classrooms, but I know some of the teachers in my workshop talked about when they sprouted lima bean seeds, she actually showed them a video of the bean sprouting from beginning to end.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
One of my teachers' favorites this time of year is I'm going to call it disgusting rotten pumpkin that they love to let mold up in my classes. But the kids are very interested in the mold and the pumpkin shrinking and turning colors and, all the fascinating things that happen.
And getting your
with the rotten
hands
pumpkin.
slimy I mean, there's so much
And the
learning
pumpkin
just in a
seeds.
pumpkin.
Yeah. What would you say to state officials or the officials that are investing in funding, why they should invest in more science, math, technology for young children? Right? We know they do it at the school level.
Right.
But what about early childhood education?
Well, I think we want to demystify science a little bit for ourselves and for teachers. So we want to set a foundation so that when children learn the more kind of abstract concepts as they get older, so much of elementary school teaching is text-based and it's not hands-on. And if you miss that, those concepts later on, they're not going to really stick because you don't have a foundational experience of being like a scientist and doing things that scientists do, which is making predictions and hypotheses, and then running an experiment and seeing, like one example we would do is the children, when we sprouted seeds, we would say, oh, I wonder if a seed could sprout in the dark. And of course, it's got the endosperm right there so it doesn't need the sunlight to sprout. It just needs the sunlight once it's sprouted, and you get the leaves out, those first leaves. So I think it's putting children in that openness to wonder, to ask questions, to not feel that they just have answers, or they don't even want to try to make a guess because they feel like if they're wrong, it's going to be judged or something like that. So I think it's almost like a mindset that's really important for school and for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. I feel like, are you from Maine?
I'm not originally. I came here 12 years ago.
Okay.
11.
So do you live in a state now that is...
I live in Maine.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you feel that it is a advantage for having so many resources? Like you guys have everything here. Like you have forests and you have bays and you have harbors. But so science is rich all around them, right? And nature is rich all around them. What would you say to maybe educators who are listening that are in New York? Like I have a amazing teacher. Her name is Miss Becca, who listens to us daily. She's a toddler teacher and she lives in New York. So there maybe not, the area outside is not as rich with resources. What would your recommendations? How can they bring that richness to their centers and maybe urban areas?
Just starting small, I would say, is the main thing. Like if you're going to do water play, have smaller containers but when you have water play, use clear containers so that children can kind of see what happens when they maybe have a big baster in their hand and they pull up some of the water for them to see
the movement
of the water. So because otherwise, I think there's so much of science as cause and effect. So the more we can make cause and effect visible to children, and it may be getting down and just playing with them with a ramp or a turkey baster or something like that, where you're kind of wandering alongside with them. Even when they have, the bottles, I forget what they're
tornado
called.
bottles?
Yeah, or just a clear, if you're going to use bottles that have oil and water in them.
Sensory bottles.
Sensory bottles, yeah. Make sure those are clear so the children can see what's happening inside of them, whether there's bells in there or water and oil or something like that. So it's as much as possible to have science be visible. And also you can bring things in. So bringing in different kinds of textures for them to feel, bark, whether it's bark or it could even be like a little something that feels like a sidewalk because that's in their environment. So comparing the textures of natural materials to materials that aren't natural and that kind of thing.
Mm, that's good. All right. So as we wrap up,
Yeah.
is there anything that you'd like to share with the listeners that I didn't ask you?
That I have the greatest respect for early childhood teachers because they are doing things that I just wish were happening in the adult world
Mm.
in terms of teaching children how to live in community, how to communicate with each other, how to play together, how to share. And my whole career has been about both being an educator, but mostly supporting early childhood teachers because I think it's the most important work.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
I
you.
could not agree more. All right, guys. So you heard it here first on the Child Care Directors Chair podcast. One last question. What's your favorite kind of ice cream?
Coffee.
Coffee. Okay, we got 2 votes for coffee today. All right, guys, you heard it here first. See you tomorrow.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Child Care Director's Chair, where we believe leaders aren't born, they're grown. If something sparked for you today, share it, shout it out, or pass it along to the next bold changemaker in childcare. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and stay connected with Erica Sacoccio for more real talk leadership tools and a whole lot of inspiration. Until next time, lead with heart, grow with fire, and always remember, the chair is yours. Now own it.